The first scream came from the children's ride. It was nearly midnight, the kind of desert night where sound travels too far and silence feels heavy enough to crush your chest. I was halfway through my patrol, boots crunching over sand that had swallowed the park's cracked concrete paths, when the speakers crackled to life. At first, it was only static. Then laughter. High-pitched, mechanical, looping. The carousel of smiles hadn't run in 15 years. No power. No generators. Nothing. Yet the music started anyway. Slow, warped, like it was being dragged through water. Lights flickered inside the ride's canopy. Pale bulbs blinking in no pattern I recognized. I stopped walking. Security training tells you to keep moving. Fear feeds on hesitation. But something about that laughter felt off. Not broken. Not glitched. Intentional. My radio hissed. "Did you hear that?" I didn't respond. I couldn't take my eyes off the carousel horses turning in the dark, their chipped paint catching the moonlight. One of them, its face cracked down the middle, was no longer facing forward. It was facing me. Then I remembered the rule. The only rule management ever stressed. Never acknowledge the rides after midnight. The laughter cut out. The lights died. And behind me, something whispered my name. I turned. The park looked harmless during the day. That was the lie it told best. Sunlight flattened everything. Washed the rust into dull orange. Turned the cracked mascots into sad jokes instead of threats. From the outside, Sunset Valley Theme Park looked like any other failed dream in the desert. Too ambitious, too expensive, too forgotten. At night, it remembered what it was. My first shift started just before sunset. The sky burned red behind the roller coaster's bent tracks, metal ribs cutting into the horizon like exposed bones. Heat still clung to the air, but it felt thinner inside the gates, as if the park swallowed warmth the way it swallowed sound. The gate shut behind me with a metallic groan that echoed too long. I stood there for a moment, keys heavy in my hand, listening. Nothing. No wind. No insects. No distant highway noise. Silence. Thick and deliberate. I told myself that was normal. Desert nights could be like that. Still, the quiet pressed against my ears until I shifted my weight just to hear my boots scrape the concrete. The security office sat near the center of the park, a squat concrete building with bulletproof glass and an old camera system wired into a dozen flickering monitors. Half the feeds were dead. The others showed empty paths, rides frozen mid-motion, shadows stretching where they shouldn't. I logged in. Signed my name. Poured coffee I didn't want. Then I started my patrol. The kiddie section came first. Tiny rides clustered together like they were huddling for safety. Mini cars on rusted tracks, a teacup spinner locked in place, the carousel of smiles standing at the center under a torn canopy. Every ride was dark. Every ride was still. I passed them slowly, flashlight beam gliding over painted faces. The horses' eyes reflected white for a second too long, making it feel like they were watching me watch them. I remembered the hiring manager's voice. There's one rule. He hadn't written it down. No manual. No posted warnings. Just words, spoken quietly, like he didn't want the walls to hear. I pushed the memory aside and kept walking. By midnight, the temperature dropped fast. Cold slid under my jacket and crawled up my spine. The desert had a way of doing that, punishing you for assuming you understood it. That was when the park began to change. Not dramatically. Not all at once. Small things. A trash can lid tipped over between patrols. A maintenance door that didn't stay shut. Music. Faint, almost imagined. Drifting through the air and vanishing when I stopped to listen. I told myself it was the wind, even when there was none. At 12:17 a.m., one of the arcade lights flickered on. Just one. I stood at the edge of the plaza, staring at the glowing rectangle in the darkness. Dust floated through the beam, slow and deliberate, like something breathing. My hand hovered over the radio. That was when the rule came back to me in full. Never acknowledge the rides after midnight. I didn't know why. I only knew the way the manager's eyes had avoided mine when he said it. So I lowered my hand and walked away. Behind me, the light clicked off. The nights after that blurred together. Sleep came in fragments. When it came at all, it brought dreams I couldn't shake. Standing in the park while it was open, children running past me, parents laughing, music loud and joyful. In every dream, someone would tug my sleeve. When I looked down, there was no one there. Just small footprints in the dust. On the 6th night, I heard footsteps that weren't mine. Soft, uneven, too light to be an animal. They followed me through the food court, echoing just behind my own steps. I stopped, counted to 5. The footsteps stopped too. I turned around, flashlight cutting through the darkness. Empty tables, torn umbrellas, shadows pooled under counters like spilled ink. Hello. I called before I could stop myself. The word felt wrong in my mouth. The sound carried farther than it should have, bouncing off walls, stretching until it didn't sound like my voice anymore. No response. I finished my patrol faster after that. The footprints appeared the next night. Small, bare, pressed into a thin layer of sand near the sandbox play area. They weren't fresh, but they weren't old either. Edges too clean, too deliberate. They didn't wander. They led. Straight toward the maintenance tunnel beneath the park. I stood there a long time, radio heavy in my hand, heart beating hard enough to make my vision pulse. Finally, I keyed the mic. "Control, this is night security," I said. "I've got." Static swallowed my words. Then a voice came through, distant and warped. "Don't." The signal cut out. When I looked back down, the footprints were gone. Smoothed over like someone had dragged their hand through the sand. I didn't quit. I should have. Instead, I told myself every place had settling noises. That old wiring could cause lights to flicker. That exhaustion played tricks on the mind. I told myself the rule was just superstition. Then came the laughter. Thin. Mechanical. Looping. The sound drifted from the carousel of smiles, soft enough that I almost missed it. Almost. I froze at the edge of the plaza, every instinct screaming at me to turn around. The carousel lights flickered on. Slowly. One by one. And in the radio clipped to my shoulder, a whisper slipped through the static, close enough to feel warm against my ear. "You're not supposed to listen." The carousel began to turn. And this time it didn't stop. The carousel never stopped turning. I watched it from the edge of the plaza, flashlight frozen in my hand. Its horses leaned unnaturally, the chipped paint like cracked porcelain skin. A smell rose from it, metallic, wet, impossible to place. I swallowed hard. My training screamed don't touch, don't engage, but every instinct I had was screaming run. Then the ride whispered my name. Just a hiss, sliding through the air like smoke. I jerked back, nearly dropping the flashlight. The beam fell across a discarded popcorn bucket, and in the shadow of its lid, something moved. Small. Too fast. Just a flicker. I blinked. Gone. The next morning, I reviewed the camera feeds. Mostly static. But one clip caught my attention. A shot from the arcade camera late at night. A small figure, bare feet, head too low to see clearly, stepped across the floor, paused at the claw machine, and then vanished mid-stride. No door opened. No exit visible. Just gone. I called the day guard. "Did you see anything weird last night?" I asked, trying to keep my voice even. He laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. "This isn't weird," he said. "This is normal. That place. It keeps memories. Sometimes they stick." Memories. He shrugged. Old tragedies. Children, workers. Accidents. Someone walks through, you see it. You hear it. Don't think too much about it. Don't look too long. Just don't. I didn't ask more. I hung up, stomach twisting. By nightfall, I was already on edge. Every patrol now felt like a test I wasn't sure I could pass. The kiddie ride started first, the tiny roller coaster car rocking gently on its own, the teacup spinning slowly when I wasn't looking. I turned my head, convinced my eyes were playing tricks. A whisper came from the sandbox. "Don't leave." The sound was soft but sharp, like metal on glass. My flashlight darted across the sand. Nothing. A heartbeat later, the sandbox had small depressions. Footprints again. Bare, tiny, deliberate, leading toward the maintenance tunnel. I didn't move. I knew I should have. 2 nights later I saw him or her, I couldn't tell which. A small child stood in the corner of the arcade, backlit by a flickering neon sign. I froze. The kid didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just stared. I whispered, "Hello." No response. Then it tilted its head slowly, the neon glinting in its eyes. Eyes too large, pupils dilated, like the shadows had decided to claim them. And then it smiled. A grin too wide for a child. Sharp, jagged, not human. I stumbled backward. My radio slipped from my shoulder. Static filled the office. And then, you shouldn't have seen that. Sleep disappeared entirely. I started taking notes. Each night, small anomalies, like breadcrumbs leading me deeper into whatever this place was. A popcorn cart spinning in place at 1:42 a.m. A ride operator booth light flickering in sync with my heartbeat. Voices, distant, echoing names I didn't know, or maybe mine. Each micro-event chipped away at my rationality. I doubted everything. My eyes played tricks. My ears betrayed me. Flashback. Part of the park's legend. 15 years ago, the park opened with fanfare. Families poured in, eager to escape the desert heat. But within weeks, reports came in. Accidents, children missing for hours, workers claiming machines moved themselves. The owners dismissed the claims. Insurance handled the complaints quietly. Until the Carousel of Smiles incident. A maintenance worker tasked with repairs vanished inside the ride. No signs of entry or exit. The ride kept spinning. Cameras recorded nothing. After that, management imposed a single, absolute rule. Never acknowledge the rides after midnight. It wasn't superstition, they called it precaution. Nobody alive ever explained why. Everyone who broke the rule disappeared. Or worse, returned changed. I began to understand. The rides weren't machines anymore. They remembered. They watched. They responded. And if you looked, if you listened, if you acknowledged them, you became part of the park. The whispering began in earnest 3 nights later. Not voices from behind doors, not from speakers. From inside the air itself. Walk away. Look away. Stop, please. I cursed. Stop. Stop it. A carousel horse lunged toward the fence. Metal squealing, paint flaking. The ride jolted violently, then stopped. I stumbled back. Then my radio hissed. "You're awake. They know." The static burned in my ears. My pulse pounded so loud I thought the whole park would hear it. I ran to the office, slammed the door, locked it. Every monitor showed nothing but static and shadow. And yet, I could feel them outside. Watching. Waiting. Counting. The next day, I dug into old records in the office archive. Dusty files, yellowed and brittle, half buried under maps and flyers. The missing maintenance worker, the children who vanished, lawsuits quietly settled. Each incident described the same pattern. Someone broke the rule. Someone saw what they shouldn't have. Someone acknowledged the rides. Every description ended the same way. Subject changed. Behavior altered. Never fully returned. I realized then I was too deep. Too far. Too awake. I tried talking to a witness once, an old groundskeeper still living nearby. I drove out into the desert, past the crumbling fences. "People don't understand," he said, voice low, trembling. "The rides, they aren't machines. They feel you. They remember you. The rule keeps them from noticing you too much." What happens if they notice? He shook his head. Some come back. Some don't. The ones that come back, he swallowed. They're not the same. You don't want to know. That night, paranoia became reality. The carousel music started. Slow, warped, and high-pitched. Lights blinked across the rides. Footsteps echoed behind me in sync with my own. I knew the tunnels were no longer just tunnels. The park had grown inside them. Shapes moved, whispering my name, leading me deeper into the maze of rust and sand. And the radio. It began whispering in voices I had never heard. Children, women, men, all saying the same thing. You broke the rule. Now they know. I understood fully, and I couldn't run. The park wasn't quiet anymore. It had never been quiet. I just hadn't noticed. By night 8 I felt it everywhere. Not just in the shadows, not just in the flickering lights, but in the very air. Every breath I drew seemed to carry whispers. Every heartbeat felt watched. The rides moved on their own. Small movements at first, a Ferris wheel rocking slightly, a kiddie car tilting. Then more pronounced. The carousel spun faster, its horse's eyes glinting with something. Alive. I tried to leave. Patrols weren't enough anymore. I didn't wait for the end of my shift. I ran across the park, keys rattling in my hand, flashlight bobbing. Doors slammed behind me. A vendor cart tipped over, spilling cracked popcorn. And then I heard it clearly this time. You're mine. I backed into the maintenance tunnel, the one beneath the kiddie rides. Dust choked the air. My flashlight revealed cobweb machinery, rusted pipes, and footprints, bare and small, leading deeper into darkness. And then I saw it, a faint glow at the end of the tunnel. A carousel horse, lying on its side as if discarded, eyes glowing pale white. It lifted itself slowly, grinding metal against concrete. The glow extended into the tunnel walls, revealing shapes pressed into the surfaces. Children, workers, shadows of the long-forgotten park. They weren't alive, not entirely, but neither dead. They were waiting. I whispered to myself, trying to remember the rule. Never acknowledge the rides after midnight. I shouldn't have looked. The first confrontation came with the carousel. I had tried to pass by quickly, keeping my eyes on the floor. But the ride spun on its own, lights flickering, music scraping across metal like fingernails. I heard the voice again, this time clearer. You broke the rule. You saw us. The words weren't coming from the radio. They weren't coming from the speakers. They were inside my head, low and deliberate, pressing against my skull. I stumbled back. What do you want? I gasped. A child's laughter, shattered, unnatural, answered, echoing off every surface. Then a single hand reached from the carousel canopy, thin and pale, curling toward me. I ran. The park itself had changed. Paths that had been straight curved unexpectedly. Fences twisted. Buildings shifted, like the park was reshaping itself while I tried to navigate. I realized then, I was no longer on familiar ground. The park wasn't a static location. It was aware, actively trapping me, testing me. I ducked into the arcade, doors slamming shut behind me. My flashlight beam danced across prize machines and cracked posters. And there, written in dust on a countertop, small handprints trailing off. You can't leave. A scream came from the carousel of smiles. Not mechanical, not distant, human, or something human-shaped, something that had once been. I ran toward the sound, and as I approached, the ground vibrated underfoot. The carousel spun violently, horses jerking as if struggling to break free from invisible chains. A small figure darted from the ride, a child, pale, eyes hollow. It ran past me, and I tried to follow, but the air thickened. My lungs burned. My vision blurred. I tripped over uneven concrete, landing hard against a popcorn cart. When I looked up, the child was gone. And then the carousel's voice whispered, "Now it's your turn." I didn't sleep after that. I stayed in the office, monitors flickering, static hissing. Voices came through the radio, soft, urgent, panicked. Some whispered warnings, some accused me. I tried to respond. What are you? We are what remains. We belong here. And now, so do you. The lights in the office flickered, revealing a small figure at the door. Just a shadow at first, then a child, face pale, eyes black as tar. I screamed and it vanished. Flashback. The park's real history. Newspapers from 15 years ago, hidden under files in the office, revealed the incidents the management never wanted public. Children vanishing inside the park, never found. Maintenance workers disappearing after night shifts, leaving only bloodied tools behind. Reports of rides moving on their own, music playing when disconnected from power, and voices calling employees by name. The Carousel of Smiles had a reputation among staff. It was called the heart of the park, the locus of all activity, and the source of every unexplained event. Management had discovered the rule through trial and error. If an employee acknowledged the ride after midnight, they risked being pulled in. Sometimes they returned, changed. Sometimes they didn't. The rule wasn't superstition. It was survival. I faced the rides again the next night. By then, paranoia had eroded all caution. I had stopped pretending the park was empty. I knew it wasn't. Small noises, clattering, whispering, the dragging of bare feet, followed me at every turn. And yet I went back. I walked the Carousel of Smiles. Its horses tilted as I passed. Their eyes seemed alive, glowing faintly, tracking me. Music played again, warped, slowed, like underwater. And the voice spoke closer this time. "You're ours now." I froze. My hand shook. Then a small child appeared on the platform. Barefoot. Too small. Head tilted unnaturally. Its eyes black. I swallowed. I'm sorry, I stammered. It smiled. Teeth too sharp. Too many. And it whispered one word. Forever. The park was closing in. Doors that had been locked opened on their own. Fences that had been intact cracked. I realized the horror wasn't just the rides, the spirits, the missing people. It was the park itself. Sentient. Protective. Hungry. And I was inside it. I couldn't escape. I couldn't hide. Every turn, every corridor led me back to the same rides, the same shadows, the same whispers. And the radio, the damned radio, was alive. Static. Voices. Laughter. Warnings. Every sound melded into one terrifying thought. Breaking the rule doesn't just wake them. It makes you part of them. I collapsed in the arcade corner, heart pounding, hands pressed over my ears. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run. But the park wouldn't let me. Small details I hadn't noticed before now struck me with full force. Dust patterns forming footprints that weren't mine. Shadows lingering even when no one was there. Music slowing and accelerating as if it were breathing. Laughter echoing from impossible directions. And always the whisper in my mind. You should have listened. By the 10th night I was convinced of one thing. The park didn't just remember. It collected. It observed. And the Carousel of Smiles was its heart, pulsing with all the lives it had taken. I realized with horror. The park wasn't finished with me. I don't remember how I got to the Ferris wheel. One moment I was stumbling through the arcade, ears ringing with whispers, hands pressed over my eyes, and the next I was standing in the plaza, the Ferris wheel looming like a skeletal sentinel. Its cabin swayed, even though the wheel hadn't turned in years. The air smelled of rust and sugar. The wind whispered names I didn't recognize. Children, workers, me, and the Carousel of Smiles. It was everywhere. Not just in the plaza. In every shadow. Every corner of the park. It had multiplied, fractals of horses spinning silently behind doors, through walls, inside my mind. You shouldn't be here, the voice whispered, soft but insistent, echoing inside my skull. I gritted my teeth. I didn't mean to. I shouted. My own voice sounded wrong, hollow, like it belonged to someone else. Then the Ferris wheel moved. Slowly, creaking, groaning under its own weight. Each cabin revealed a figure. Children, or something that had been children. Faces pale, eyes hollow, bodies suspended halfway between life and shadow. They reached out to me, laughing, whispering, calling my name. Stop! I screamed. I didn't. The air thickened. My lungs burned. I stumbled backward. One of the cabins swung down toward me, impossibly fast, scraping the ground, its door opening. A figure emerged, smaller than a child, but taller than a shadow. Its grin split across its face like a cracked mask. "You're ours," it hissed. I ran, slipping over sand and cracked concrete, trying to find the maintenance tunnel, trying to escape. Every turn led me back to the carousel. The horses spun faster, glinting teeth, glowing eyes, hooves scraping the ground like knives. The music rose, warped and distorted, echoing from every corner of the park, dragging me into its rhythm. "Run," whispered one voice. "Stay. You can't. Forever." I tried the radio, hoping for control, hoping for sanity, hoping for something. Static. Then voices. Hundreds of them overlapping, screaming, laughing, whispering. "He sees us. She broke the rule. Come to us." I dropped to my knees. My flashlight beam danced across the plaza, revealing impossible things. Shadows moving without bodies, light bending, ride shifting position, Ferris wheel cabins scraping the sky, the carousel horses forming a semicircle around me like predators circling prey. And then I heard the whisper. Soft, deliberate, patient. "Join us." I screamed, stumbling into the carousel. Its platform rotated, horses jerking violently, eyes locking onto mine. I ran along the edge, clinging to a railing. The ride tilted, spinning faster, until the world itself seemed to warp around me. Time stretched and compressed. I could feel the past, workers disappearing, children lost, rides turning endlessly, folding into the present. The air was thick with screams. Real ones. Not imagined. And then a hand, pale, small, skeletal, clutched my shoulder. I turned. A child, or the thing that had once been a child, stared at me. Its grin too wide, teeth too sharp, eyes black, hollow, and it whispered, "You can't leave." I ran into the maintenance tunnel. Doors slammed behind me. Lights flickered. Pipes groaned. Shadows pressed in from the walls. I realized then, I was no longer in the park. The park was inside me, inside the tunnel, inside my head. Footsteps followed, echoing mine but faster, lighter, multiple. A whisper. "The rule. You broke it. Now belong to us." I collapsed against a wall, trying to steady my breathing. My hands shook. My flashlight beam fell on a console. One monitor flickered alive. Images of myself patrolling. My own movements, looping endlessly. Behind me in the feed, shadows followed, and horses spun around me, closer, closer. "No one leaves," the voice said, calm now, almost intimate. The carousel's music rose to a deafening pitch. The horses lifted from the platform, suspended mid-air, eyes gleaming. They tilted toward me as though ready to strike. I ran down a corridor that didn't exist before, the walls bending, stretching, swallowing doors, floors folding. My reflection appeared in broken glass, pale, hollow-eyed, grinning like the figures chasing me. "It's too late," whispered a chorus of voices. I tried to scream, but the sound came out wrong. Not my voice. Children's laughter, metallic, warped, overlapped with screams. I covered my ears, stumbled and fell. The floor shifted beneath me. I caught sight of the Ferris wheel through a crack in the wall. It loomed impossibly high, cabins full of figures staring directly at me. And at its center, the carousel of smiles pulsed, like a beating heart. The entity revealed itself fully. It was the carousel made alive. The horses twisted together into a single, writhing mass. Faces emerged from the wood. Children, workers, shadows, all screaming silently. Eyes black, mouths open, teeth jagged. It lunged toward me, a wave of sound, movement, and intent. I stumbled backward. My flashlight shattered. Darkness enveloped me, but I could see. Not with eyes. With terror. The park's awareness. Its hunger. Its claim on me. "Forever," it whispered again. I tried to escape. Doors twisted. Pathways curved back into the plaza. No matter which way I ran, the carousel followed. Its music warped reality itself. Shadows lengthened, multiplied, and pressed on me. The wind carried whispers of past victims. "You should have left. We are patient. You broke the rule." Every word struck like a hammer. I couldn't breathe. My mind fractured. My body refused to move. Then I saw it. The center of the carousel, the hub, glowing faintly. A door, tiny, impossible, like a portal. Maybe escape. Maybe death. I ran. I don't remember if I fell, or if the park let me reach the hub. All I remember is the door closing behind me. Silence. Cold. Real. No music. No whispers. No horses. I turned. Nothing. The park outside was still. The Ferris wheel motionless. The carousel frozen. The air breathable. The desert wind real. And then from behind a whisper. You broke the rule. We will wait. I ran. I don't remember how long I drove. The desert stretched on in every direction, flat and empty. Moonlight washing the sand in silver. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles whitened. My eyes burned. My chest ached. And yet, even as I left Sunset Valley behind, I could feel it. The carousel's pulse, faint but steady, like a heartbeat buried under my own. At first, I tried to tell myself it was over. The police wouldn't believe me. They never believed anyone. Reports of accidents or missing persons were brushed aside, filed under negligence, bad luck, desert winds. And I couldn't explain the whispers, the shadows, the rides that moved on their own. Not without sounding insane. Sleep became impossible. When I closed my eyes, the park appeared. I was back inside, patrolling, chasing echoes, running from the carousel. The laughter, the whispers, the music. It all came rushing back in dreams I couldn't wake from. Sometimes I would open my eyes in the dark of my apartment and see a horse's eye glinting from the corner of the room. Just for a second. Then gone. I stopped answering calls. I stopped going outside. My apartment became a sanctuary of dim light and closed blinds. The only sound I allowed was the hum of the refrigerator. But I never felt safe. Friends noticed. "You're not yourself," one said. I tried to laugh. "I'm fine," I said. I wasn't. Every shadow felt like it belonged to something that had followed me. Every laugh on the street, every child playing outside, made my stomach tighten. I imagined black eyes following me, smiling, waiting. Sometimes I whispered to myself, hoping words could hold back what I couldn't see. I didn't mean to. I didn't break it on purpose. I didn't. The sentences never finished. I tried to go back. I thought if I could confront the park one last time, maybe I could understand it. Maybe I could end it. I didn't make it past the outskirts. The desert seemed wider, emptier, but when I looked toward the horizon, I saw it. Faint lights. Carousel lights. Spinning slowly. I wanted to convince myself it was a mirage. A trick of heat. But I knew better. It was waiting. Years passed, or maybe weeks. Time had no meaning anymore. I stopped trying to explain myself. I stopped trying to sleep. My reflection in mirrors startled me, my own face pale and hollow-eyed. Shadows lingered longer than they should. Sounds echoed farther than they should. And at night, the whispers returned. Soft, patient, omnipresent. You saw. You listened. You acknowledged. You broke the rule. I couldn't outrun it. I couldn't fight it. And I knew deep down that the carousel was patient. It didn't need to chase. It didn't need to strike. It just waited. For the next acknowledgement. The next curiosity. The next mistake. The final night, or maybe morning, I couldn't tell, came quietly. No music. No shadows. No whispers. Just silence. I closed my eyes, exhausted, and for a moment I felt free. Then a faint creak from the corner of my room. A small shadow stretching, twisting. And in that shadow I saw it, a horse's eye. Black, unblinking. Watching. Patient. Forever, the whisper came, soft, almost affectionate. And I understood. There was no leaving. There would never be leaving. The park had followed me. Inside my mind. Inside my body. Inside every shadow I saw. I would wake, I would move, I would breathe, and it would be there. Waiting. Watching. Patient. Forever. I tried to tell myself it was just memory. Just trauma. But even now, I can hear the faint music if I listen too long. The carousel is spinning somewhere, always spinning. And somewhere in the wind, in the shadows, in the corners of the world, the rule waits. Never acknowledge the rides after midnight. I broke it once. And I will never be free.